Right now, there may be someone in your life who doesn't openly hurt you, but who slowly drains your peace. And you might be calling this love, patience, or loyalty. Maybe you don't see that person as a bad person. Maybe you tell yourself, a good Christian should be more understanding. That's why you pick up the phone every time they call. You run to every crisis of theirs. But when you try to set a boundary, you feel guilty. What if the thing you thought was love is actually what's making you give up on protecting your heart? Think of a garden. A garden you worked on for years. A garden whose soil you prepared with your own hands, where you planted every seed with hope. You watered it. You protected it from storms. You pruned its withering branches, because that garden was not an ordinary place. That garden was your inner world. It was your peace, your hope, your love, and your bond with God. But lately, your garden doesn't look the way it used to. Some flowers are wilting. The soil is losing its life. The things that used to make you happy no longer bring the same joy. You wake up tired in the mornings, and you carry a weight throughout the day that you can't explain, and you keep looking for the reason inside yourself. You think you need to be stronger, more patient, more understanding. But maybe the problem isn't in your garden. Maybe the problem is who you've been letting pass through your gate. Because every person who enters our lives leaves a mark on our inner world. Some of them water our flowers when they come. They encourage us, lighten our load, and make us feel safe. Others drain our soil without us even noticing. After talking to them, we can't understand why we're so tired. Today, we're going to talk about 6 types of people who can drain your peace without you even realizing it. Not to judge them, and not to push everyone out of your life, but so you can recognize which relationships nourish you and which ones slowly wear down your heart. And by the end of this video, you won't just have recognized these 6 people, you'll also see the difference between loving someone and giving them unlimited access to your life. Proverbs 4:23 says this: "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Notice, it says above all else. Before your career, before your reputation, before what people think of you. Even before the desire to keep certain relationships, no matter the cost. Your heart is a garden that needs to be protected, and every healthy garden has a boundary, a fence. So who is passing through your fence? The first person is the one who carries every dark cloud from their own life onto your garden. This person doesn't just complain. Over time, they teach you to see through their own eyes too. For them, the weather is either too hot or too cold. Work is either too exhausting or too boring. People are always inconsiderate, and life is always unfair. You try to be helpful while listening to them, but after the conversation ends, you feel your own energy slowly draining away. You hang up the phone, but the conversation doesn't end. Their complaints keep going in your mind. After a while, instead of seeing the good things in your own life, you start focusing on what's missing. Maybe that person really is going through a hard time. Of course, we should listen to one another in difficult times, but there's a difference between temporary pain and constant complaining. One seeks support, the other carries gloom everywhere it goes. 1 Corinthians 15:33 warns us, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." This verse reminds us that the people we spend a lot of time around shape our thinking. Even if you don't notice it, their language can slowly become your own inner voice. The second person is the one who listens to your secrets but doesn't protect them. This person tells you who said what, who did what, and who made a mistake where. At first, these conversations may seem harmless, even entertaining, but stop for a moment and think, if someone shares other people's private matters with you this comfortably, why would they keep your private matters safe when you're not around? Maybe one day you told them about a wound in your heart, a problem in your family, a doubt in your faith, or a fear you hadn't shared with anyone. Then, in some setting, you heard sentences similar to your own words coming from someone else's mouth. Maybe the details had changed, but you immediately recognized that the story was yours. That's the moment you realized the conversation you thought was private wasn't only private to you after all. The gossiping person plucks the flowers from your garden and carries them to other gardens. Without you realizing it, your words, your vulnerabilities, and your secrets start circulating in their hands. James 3:10 says, "Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. The tongue can heal a person, but it can also wound them." That's why you should stay close not just to people who say kind words to you, but to people who protect your honor even when you're not there. The third person is the one who only loves you as long as you stay behind them. Around this person, you never feel fully good enough. Someone else's house is nicer, their job is better, their marriage looks happier, their children are more successful. Your achievements shrink while other people's lives grow bigger in your eyes. Sometimes this person doesn't compare you outright. It's just that their expression changes when you share good news. Maybe you got news you'd been waiting for a long time. You told them excitedly. You thought they would be happy for you too. But they gave a brief smile, then quickly changed the subject. They didn't ask you questions. They didn't share in your joy. Later, you noticed something. They were always there when you were sad. But when something good happened in your life, they pulled away. Because some people love you, but they don't love your growth. They want to be near you, but they don't want to watch you pass them by. This person steals the sunlight from your garden. Your eyes drift away from your own soil and keep wandering to the garden next door. Galatians 6 says, "Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone, without comparing themselves to someone else." Comparison is a seed that never bears real fruit in your garden. It only grows unrest, jealousy, and a sense of not being enough. Your path doesn't have to look like someone else's path. The fourth person is the one who doesn't share your life but tries to run it. This person doesn't enter your garden as a guest. They act like they own it. They interfere with which flower you plant where, when you water it, who you see, and what decisions you make. Sometimes they do this so often that you start to forget whose garden it actually is. I'm only saying this because I care about you. You shouldn't have made this decision without asking me. Why did you meet with them? I know what's best for you better than you do. These sentences may seem like concern at first. But over time, you start seeking approval for every step you take. You stop trusting your own decisions. Before doing something, you think about that person's reaction instead of God's guidance. Real love can give advice, but it doesn't take away your will. It can guide you, but it doesn't make you smaller. Love says, "I'm here with you." Control says, "You have to live the way I want." Galatians 5:1 reminds us, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery." If you constantly feel small, inadequate, afraid, or guilty around someone, you need to ask yourself whether that person is supporting your good or building their own order over your life. The fifth person is the one who hides their own disappointment by shrinking your dreams. This person mocks your hopes, your plans, and sometimes your faith. Do you really think you can achieve that? I think you're dreaming too big. At this point in your life, are you sure God really called you to this? Every time you hear these sentences, the most delicate flower in your garden gets crushed a little more. After a while, you stop talking about your dreams. You hide your joy. You quiet the voice inside you. This person isn't always malicious. Maybe they've given up on their own dreams. Maybe your continued hope reminds them of their own losses. But whatever their intention, the result doesn't change. Their voice grows louder, while yours grows smaller. Proverbs 13:20 says, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." The people around you affect not just your mood today, but who you'll become tomorrow. Around someone who constantly diminishes you, you may start hiding the very gifts God gave you. The sixth person is the one who only remembers you when their own storm begins. This person's life always has a new crisis. An argument, a falling out, a debt, a breakup, or a problem that needs solving at the last minute. The phone rings and you run again. You drop your own work. You postpone your own rest. You forget to water your own garden while trying to rescue theirs. Of course, we help the people we love in hard times, but constantly stepping into the role of rescuer is not the same thing as genuine compassion. Genuine compassion helps, but it doesn't completely abandon its own soil. The person who constantly creates crises pulls you into their own chaos. While you carry their problems, you neglect your own needs, your own peace, and your own responsibilities. To understand this, ask yourself this question. Does this person only call me when they have a problem, or are they genuinely interested in me during calm times too? Do they ask how you're doing? Are they curious about your joy? Or do they only see you as someone to carry their burden? If they only remember you when a crisis breaks out, you may have stopped being a friend in that relationship and become an emergency service instead. Here, it's worth mentioning a mistake that women especially tend to fall into often. Many women think setting boundaries is selfish. They believe that to be a good wife, a good mother, a good friend, or a good Christian, they need to be available to everyone. But setting boundaries is not the opposite of love. On the contrary, it's part of healthy love, because you can't give flowers to anyone from a garden that has dried up. Think of a woman named Naomi. For years, she kept her door open to everyone. She listened for hours to a friend who complained constantly. She heard gossip but stayed silent so as not to disturb the peace. She endured comparisons. She stopped talking about her dreams around a friend who belittled her. While rushing from crisis to crisis, she always put her own life last. While Naomi did all this, she kept thinking, a good Christian behaves this way. She believed that being open to everyone was the purest form of love. But one day, when she looked in the mirror, she came face to face with someone she didn't recognize, a tired, worn-out, silent woman. Her own dreams, her own voice, and her own peace had gotten lost among other people's needs. That night, she knelt down and prayed, "Lord, I want my garden back." She felt guilty even saying that sentence, as if wanting her own peace was selfish. But God taught her this. Protecting your own garden does not mean not loving others. Protecting your own garden is necessary so that you still have the strength to love and the flowers left to give. While Nehemiah was rebuilding the fallen walls of Jerusalem, the people around him mocked him, threatened him, and tried to distract him. Again and again, they called him down to pull him away from his work. But Nehemiah gave this answer: "I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down." This answer powerfully explains the meaning of setting boundaries. Sometimes you don't have to answer every call. You don't have to join every argument, explain yourself to every accusation, or run to every crisis, because you too are carrying on a great project. You are protecting your heart, your peace, and your bond with God. Nehemiah 4:6 says, "The people worked with all their heart. The walls were rebuilt not out of anger, but out of purpose." Your boundaries, too, should exist not to punish people, but to protect your heart. Not everyone will understand this. Some will get angry at you. Some will say you've changed. Some will accuse you of being selfish. But you don't have to be harsh when you set a boundary. You don't have to remove everyone from your life either. You just need to be clear about how close someone gets to allow. You can love some people but spend less time with them. You can forgive someone but not give them the same trust again. Distance doesn't always mean hatred. Sometimes distance is wisdom. Maybe today you realize that you've left your fence open to everyone for years. You knew some people were draining you, but you didn't dare say it. Maybe someone closest to you resembles one of these 6 people, and admitting that hurts. This awareness isn't easy, but seeing the truth is the beginning of healing. No one may have taught you how to protect the boundaries of your heart. So don't blame yourself for the decisions you made in the past. But you no longer have to ignore what you've now recognized. From today on, you can take back responsibility for your garden. From today on, decide for yourself who gets to enter your garden. Decide for yourself who you'll spend more time with, who you'll set boundaries with, and who you'll love from a bit further away. This doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means you also need to protect the heart that God entrusted to you. Remember, setting boundaries is not a lack of love. Setting boundaries is protecting the space where love can live. You can't give flowers to anyone from a garden that has dried up, but from a garden that's been watered, protected, and brought back to life. Enough beauty grows for both you and the people around you. If this word touched you today, just write this in the comments. Lord, guard my heart. And if you know a woman who is tired from keeping her door open to everyone, share this video with her. Maybe today is the day for her to return to her own garden too.